Hello, thanks for stopping by and watching my do-it-yourself video on how to make my version of a hydro grow bucket. To do this, you're going to need two 5-gallon buckets, some PVC pipe, a solo cup, a bunch of zip ties, a box cutter, a drill, and optionally two 45-degree PVC connectors. To begin, we're going to trace a circle around the lip of the solo cup on the bottom of one of the buckets. And we're going to cut this out at a slightly smaller diameter than the outline that we traced. This is to allow the lip of the solo cup to rest without falling through. Now we're going to drill a bunch of holes. Drill lots of holes. A lot of people ask, is the soil going to fall through these holes? And the answer is no. Drill more holes. We're going to drill holes in the bottom, and we're going to drill holes in the side as well. This is going to allow for very good aeration of the soil and roots. It's going to allow for healthy plants. That's about what it looks like when you're done. And the next thing we do, we're going to cut a hole in the bottom and allow the fill pipe to pass through into the bottom reservoir in the bucket below. Simple enough, just trace that to see what the circumference is and cut it out. And then test it, make sure it fits about right. Yeah. So here we need to position the top bucket over the bottom bucket and figure out how much clearance it needs for the solo cup to get almost to the bottom of the bottom bucket. It looks about like that. Okay, so if I take that cup back out and put it below the top bucket, it's going to hold it in place while I do this next step. I'm going to drill holes straight through both buckets, pairs of holes about an inch apart all the way around, and I'm going to connect the two buckets with zip ties. This is going to hold the top bucket with some clearance above the bottom bucket, which allows for a larger reservoir as opposed to just snugly putting the two buckets together. You want to make sure your finished product looks nice by putting the zipping mechanism of the zip tie on the inside of the bucket. That way on the outside you only see a small profile of the zip ties. You can see there I put 6 or 8. The total number isn't really super critical, just enough to support the weight of a plant above the bottom bucket. And here I'm going to cut some holes in the solo cup and some slits in the side. The soil from the top bucket is actually going to be in this solo cup as well, which dips into the reservoir and acts as a wicking mechanism. We'll put in the fill pipe and we'll attach it to the side of the bucket with a few more holes and some more zip ties. In the next step, we're going to drill a drain hole in the side of the outer bucket, which is going to allow for a 1/2 inch of clearance between the floor of the top bucket and the top of the reservoir water level. This is critical so you don't drown your plant. So once you have identified where the floor is by marking it on the outside of the bottom bucket, you're going to drill a hole to allow for the bottom of that hole to be a 1/2 inch below the floor of the top bucket. And I'm going to clean up the excess zip tie cords here. Well, that's pretty much it. You'd fill this with a peat light mixture, which is equal parts of perlite, vermiculite, and peat moss. I'll show you here how to add the 45-degree watering pipe. When you have a big bushy pepper plant, it's hard to get your watering funnel right up next to the trunk. So this helps you to get access. And here's a sample of my hydro grow bucket in action this year. This plant was started really late in the year, but it still ended up producing 11 pounds of peppers between this and 2 other plants identical. This is a Borg 9 pepper. And at the very end I'll show you just a screenshot of the peppers that came off of this one plant in one harvesting. Keep in mind the plant was started pretty late in the year, but it still had a chance to put a few peppers out. And there it is. I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe and check out my other videos. Thanks.